So I'd like to look now in terms of the customer and the things that makes our business tick. So in truth, there are 5 generations or 5 customer types that are shopping in the industry today. So currently the traditionalists account for around 9%, but by 2030 that will be less than 3%. A generation that survived the Blitz and also the creation of suburbia. You have the baby boomers, or the man land on the moon, and the introduction of the modern computer. But a group of people, again, that will diminish in their importance in terms of the economy into the future. You then have Generation Z accounting for 22%, will drop down to 19%, but a generation that saw the fall of the Berlin Wall and the introduction, of course, of the mobile phone. Millennials, a much talked about group, and these are stats that I often get challenged about because in truth they will actually represent a reduction in the percentage proportion of consumers by 2030. That's because there is a very important group that actually follows them. But this is the group that was being brought up with Facebook, but also lived through virtually their entire lives with the threat of terrorism. And then, of course, there's the Gen Z. So the beautiful young people in the room, the Love Islanders, the people that play games with people overseas, and a generation that is more concerned about hair loss than any other generation before them. But this is the group, currently 19%, it will move to 35% by 2030. You're absolutely crucial. Make your voices heard. You have an opportunity today to ask questions. We're here to do our best to respond to those questions. But more importantly, you'll be formulating your own opinions because you are the future leaders of industry and business into the future. So really, our destiny is in your hands. So let's have a quick look now in terms of the market. We talk a lot about little mergers that are occurring, but you've got Ocado and Kroger, you've got Flipchart and Walmart coming together, looking and learning from experiences that these vast businesses that actually have. You've got Coca-Cola now buying into a coffee market. You've got Tesco arguably going back to its roots with Jack's as a proposition. And online has actually become convenient because it wasn't very good when you had to order on a Monday for something that might come on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, particularly if you're in the food industry and you didn't know what you fancied on that day of the week. But Prime services and one-hour delivery service, as well, of course, the gig economy, are also hugely influential. But the high street is changing very, very rapidly. Businesses are being created and equally they are failing at a real rate of knots. And that's leading to consolidation in the marketplace. But it's also, I think this is probably one of the most optimistic things to look at. Amazon, this great, enormous business, a clue in the name there, in terms it's built without the regulation or restriction that the rest of the industry has had to cope with. Now, that's not our job to fix, but you will be hearing from presenters later in the day who have a real opinion on this. But they have been allowed to grow. They have been allowed to do that without paying their taxes like other businesses have. But they are looking at bricks and mortar. They are looking to invest into the high street. So there must be something on there that really gives us hope. And as mentioned earlier, convenience is an area that is growing. It's growing at double figures, but this is over the next 5 years. But if you look at discounting, with the growth that you've got that's almost at 50%, it will be bigger than the convenience sector in the not too distant future. So again, as consumers, we have choices to make as to where we decide to invest and to spend our money.